This is WFYI News Now. It's October 29th, and I'm Abriana Herron. On today's show, an overseas expedition to potentially find the remains of Amelia Earhart's plane is delayed. Indiana's lieutenant governor has stepped into a local issue over a property tax referendum on next week's ballot. And Indiana's monthly employment report was delayed this month due to the government shutdown.
It can make it tricky to figure out whether or not the wages are competitive and whether they need to make adjustments to wages based on incoming data.
Those stories coming up, but first. Earlier this week, the Indiana State Police called for the public's help to find 2 tortoises stolen from the Indianapolis Zoo. As Ben Thorpe reports, the tortoises have been found nearly 40 miles away in the town of Pendleton.
According to the Indiana State Police, the tortoises were discovered by visitors of Falls Park in Pendleton around 4 p.m. on Tuesday. The tortoises both belong to critically endangered species. The pair were found in an unattended cardboard box with a note referencing the Indianapolis Zoo. The tortoises were positively identified by embedded microchips as the ones taken from the zoo. State police say the incident is still under investigation, and the Indianapolis Zoo declined to comment for this story. I'm Ben Thorpe.
An overseas expedition to potentially find the remains of Amelia Earhart's plane has been delayed. Jeremy Rubin has more on what the researchers, headed by Purdue University, plan to do next.
Archaeologists suspect they may have found clues about missing pilot Amelia Earhart after satellite imagery revealed an irregularity on a remote beach in the Pacific. An expedition to search beneath the sand of the island was planned to be sent out next week. On Monday, researchers from Purdue University announced the expedition would have to be delayed until 2026 due to concerns over a research permit and the weather. The overall plan remains mostly the same. A small team will travel from the Marshall Islands to the remote island to search for Earhart's plane. Expedition leaders estimate the earliest safe time to travel to the island will be in April, after the South Pacific cyclone season. I'm Jeremy Rubin.
Indiana's lieutenant governor has stepped into a local issue over a school property tax referendum on next week's ballot. The move spotlights a broader debate over how districts fund teachers and programs in the face of reduced support. Eric Weddle has more.
Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith was knocking on doors in Avon Saturday, urging voters to reject the school district's operating referendum. He says schools should tighten budgets and educate students better before asking for more funds. Avon Schools is asking to renew a property tax rate to raise about $14 million a year for 8 years. That rate is lower than what voters previously approved. District leaders say the money would keep classes smaller and sustain competitive pay. They also say Beckwith's comments undercut a decision for the community. 5 other districts are also asking voters to approve tax levies. The election is Tuesday, November 4th. I'm Eric Weddle.
For details on all school referendums, go to our website. And for our final story today, Indiana's monthly employment report was delayed this month due to the government shutdown. Tamoria Cunningham reports what one expert believes could happen if the data continues to stall.
The monthly report highlights the state's unemployment data and labor force participation rate, among other things. The data is collected directly from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, where more than 2,000 employees were furloughed due to the government shutdown. Alvin Velasquez teaches a course on labor law at Indiana University Bloomington. He says not having that employment data could impact many people, including lawmakers, economic planners, and Hoosier employers.
It can make it tricky to figure out whether or not the wages are competitive and whether they need to make adjustments to wages based on incoming data.
Velasquez says the delayed report could also affect union workers who are bargaining with their employer for higher wages. I'm Tamoria Cunningham.
That's all for today's episode of WFYI News Now. Our podcast is produced by Zach Bundy, with support from the news team at WFYI and public media journalists across the state. Our news director is Sarah Neal-Estes. Kendall Antron produced our music, and I'm your host, Abriana Herron. If you like today's episode, remember to subscribe and share, and follow WFYI on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube to check in on our newsroom throughout the day. Thanks for listening. We'll be back tomorrow.